Well, okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Sean Grant with Tokara Solutions, and we will be presenting Maximizing Saratoga CRM for Peak Performance and Ease of Use today on this being our second webinar in a series that we're promoting and providing to our customers on behalf of Tokara. Again, my name is Sean Grant. I'm president of Tokara Solutions. And we are going to spend the next hour and a half talking about all things Saratoga. And this is our first webinar regarding Saratoga CRM. We're pretty excited about it. Looks like we've got a really great audience today. So thanks everybody in advance for joining. And let's get this on the road here. Let's see, I guess my page up and down is, okay, there we go. A little delayed, my apologies. Very good. So the agenda today we'll do a quick little intro that I'll provide on Tokara Solutions, because I realize some of you on this call are not familiar with Tokara Solutions, or you're fairly new to Tokara Solutions. So we'll talk a little bit about who we are and the things that really we focus in. Then we'll get into Saratoga discussion, really focusing on upgrade, health checks, product features, which will be led by both John Hodgson and Michael Malik. Michael will also get into more detail, dashboards, screen design, quick notes, those sorts of things. With any webinar that we do, we always want to have a customer talk about how we've worked with them, the things they've done in their system, and in some cases, demonstration of what they've done in their system. That's always a highlight for these, having done these last, I guess, close to 20 years now. We used to do them live. Now we're kind of shifted to the webinar, and we certainly get a lot more people attending because of that. So we're pretty excited about that. We'll talk a bit about some of the connectors that we've built and we're exploring building that would be beneficial to Saratoga customers. And so connectors are pieces of code that connect you to third-party applications that are common, such as like Gmail. So we'll talk a bit about those. We'll talk about RAM, or Remote Application Management, which is something that we provide all our Saratoga customers, all our Pivotal customers. And it's a popular service that we offer to our customers. And then we'll do Q&A at the end. So I encourage you to send through chat any questions that you may have. And like I said, we'll do our best to answer. In the event that we don't have an answer for that question, we'll follow up with you. We'll get that answer, and we'll follow up with you directly. So we'll try to make sure no question is left unanswered. And we want to make sure there's plenty of time for Q&A. Somebody here is asking me, it looks like from Larry, would we be able to see who has attended the event? Unfortunately, no. In the webinar setting for Zoom, they don't allow attendees to see who's all attending. But I can tell you that it's majority of Saratoga customers on, and if there's anybody specific, I'm sure John can answer that for you. But my apologies, you can't see who the customers are that are attending. So we'll move on to the next slide and really talking about who Tokara Solutions is. And like I mentioned, this is our second webinar in a series that we're going to be offering our customers every 6 to 8 weeks. New topics, opportunity to talk about specific functionality, maybe upcoming enhancements or products that we're offering in the form of a Tokara connector. And we'll talk about best practices, what customers have done, and anything else that might be unique out there. And certainly we're always looking for topics. So I encourage customers on this webinar, feel free to send us topics that you'd like to hear about, and we'll do our best to incorporate onto our next webinar. But like I mentioned, we're hoping to do this every 6 to 8 weeks, as long as there's interest, and we get good attendance. We'll continue to do that. We're all about, Tokara Solutions, all about adding value to customers and doing everything that we can to do that. Whether it's a webinar, through our blog, through different publications that we write and really present or offer to our customers on our website. So the focus for Tokara Solutions and really these webinars is around Saratoga and Pivotal CRM customers. That's primarily what we do and who we support. We also have a thriving Salesforce practice, and in some cases, either Saratoga or Pivotal customers move to Salesforce or have moved to Salesforce, and that's why we have a Salesforce practice. We have the ability to move you from your CRM over to Salesforce and not lose any of the data, and in most cases keep the functionality you've grown used to. I mentioned this is a webinar series. Every 6 to 8 weeks or so, we're going to do this webinar, and we want to add as much value as possible. So again, please feel free to let myself or John or Michael know any relevant topics you'd love for us to discuss. Also, if you're a customer and you've got a story that you'd like to present to customers, we would love that. We would highly encourage that. There's nothing better than having a customer talking about how they really use Saratoga or the enhancements or their experience working with Tokara Solutions. And some of you folks may not know this. I worked for Pivotal CDC for 11 years and ran professional services for 8, and was really the person that would go out there and host these events, customer community events. And I did a lot of them, did them about every 6 months or so, and go out on the road and present at different locations where we get good turnout of customers. And the highlight of every one of these events was the customer story. That is so important for other customers to hear what that customer story is, how they've been successful using Saratoga CRM, and we want to definitely share that story. So if anybody wants to volunteer, we're looking for volunteers always because we want to include a customer story with each webinar that we do. It's just so important. And we are going to have one today, and I'll share that with you here in another slide here. The other thing I mentioned, Q&A at the end of each webinar, so important. Our promise to you is we will not run out of time. We'll do our best to address every question with an answer. And if we don't have an answer, we'll follow up with you after the event with an answer as soon as we have it. So we definitely don't want any customer, coming away from this webinar saying, gosh, I was expecting Q&A and there was like 2 questions. Like I said, we want to do our best to answer every question that we possibly can. And I guess how Tokara Solutions is different. We're all about customer success, the best interest of the customer. We're very truthful in stating our opinions on products and or bugs, issues that maybe you're running into, that maybe we've run into. We look after the customer, and like I said, always truthful with the customer and really operating on your behalf. Okay, move on to next slide. There we go. Yeah, any suggestions, send to John Hodgson at tokarasolutions.com. Few things, house cleaning, the event rules, all the lines are on mute. I can unmute and have you speak, and we'll do that when we have our customer story. But that's so you don't have a baby in the background or noise, that sort of thing. So yeah, so we'll be able to control mute, unmute as needed. Send chat questions to the moderator. Contact John if you have any follow-on questions, and we'll do our best to answer each one. Presenters today, starting with myself, Sean Grant. We've got Michael Malik, one of our Saratoga senior CRM consultants. We also have John Hodgson, who you all know is our VP of Professional Services. And then we have a special guest today. We're very thankful to have Pete Bacalzo, hopefully I pronounced that properly, Pete, senior specialist with Wisconsin Energy. the business services group. So we're excited to have him. He's going to talk about how they use Saratoga CRM, and it should be quite interesting. So to give you a quick intro on Tokara Solutions, who we are, and really what we do. So I left, at the time it was CDC Software back in 2009, I guess it was October 2009, and started Tokara Solutions with really the idea that we would focus on Saratoga CRM and Pivotal CRM customers. And that would be in the form of consulting services, support, building products, what we call connectors, really filling the gaps in functionality for Saratoga and Pivotal. We've been pretty effective at doing that. We also have built, like I mentioned, a thriving Salesforce practice for those Pivotal and Saratoga CRM customers that are looking at migrating to another CRM. It just, in our case, it happens to be Salesforce as the alternative, because most of the customers that have left Saratoga and or Pivotal have gone over to Salesforce. So that is something we specialize in, and we've even built tools to help with that process, so that no data attachments or any other kind of unique things in Saratoga can all come over into Salesforce properly, or Pivotal. I mean, we've migrated Saratoga to Pivotal, and we have plenty of customers that continue to run Saratoga today. So it's really whatever your preference is. It really doesn't even come down to technology. It usually comes down to people and process. If your CRM is success or not, the technology plays a smaller part in that from our experience. Tokara Solutions has really a history of providing long-term support to our customers, and really especially those customers that run complex CRM solutions where there's been a lot of customization, there's a lot of integration, there's just a lot of things going on in the system, and that's really our specialty. And it's mainly because we have expert consultants that really only do Saratoga. That is their livelihood. We'll talk a little bit about that. Our consultants average 15 years and at least 100 projects that they've have experience with implementing CRM software. In the case of Michael Malik, he's been working with Saratoga for 19 years. And there's in fact several people on our team that have been working with CDC software products, I guess you could say, Pivotal, Saratoga, Onyx. There's some other things that we specialize in as well, for over 20 years. So we've got really seasoned consultants that really focused on the product that interests them the most, in this case, Saratoga CRM. We have a successful track record of delivering over 450 CRM projects since 2009, and that includes Saratoga CRM, Pivotal CRM, and Salesforce CRM projects. We have a satisfaction score of 9.9 out of 10, and that's something we're very proud of. And it really just, at the end of the day, we go the extra mile for our customers. That's the reason we exist. If our customer's not happy with us, obviously Tokara is not going to be around very long. So that is our goal, to make sure that our customers are pleased and feel that the work we did for them was a huge success. We have an office in Grapevine, Texas. However, our resources are really all around the world. I mean, Michael Malik, a lot of you know, he's in Germany. John's in Vancouver. We've got a number of folks in California, Toronto, East, West Coast, the UK. I mean, we're really all over the place. We do have an office in Toronto as well, but that is primarily Salesforce that we do out of that office. So Grapevine, Texas is really our home base, and we're right on Main Street, downtown Grapevine, Texas, if you're familiar with that at all. It's right next to the DFW airport. Very good. So just a little bit more about Tokara and really how we're different. So, I've been selling and managing Saratoga CRM project delivery for 15 years now, and a little over 15 years. I mentioned before, I ran CDC Software Professional Services for 8 years. I ran North America Sales for 3. So I was there for 11 at Pivotal CDC. And I became involved with Saratoga when CDC Software acquired Saratoga. So I was part of the due diligence team, went on site, worked with Jenny Pang and Denise Rod and a gentleman by the name of Bruce McIntyre, some of you guys might remember. You know, I was involved with the professional services. So when we acquired them, I managed Denise and she managed the team. And that was the beginning of me learning everything there is to know about Saratoga, the product, and really the customers. You know, our Saratoga consultants on our team, Saratoga is their livelihood. This is what they do. This is what they want to do. They don't do anything else. It's not like they dabble in Saratoga and do Salesforce. No, they live and breathe Saratoga CRM every single day. It's the same for our pivotal consultants as well. They live and breathe that technology every day. They don't have any interest in working on really anything else. And hopefully for our Saratoga customers on this webinar, that's peace of mind that you know there are Saratoga consultants out there that are with Tokara that only do Saratoga. That's all they want to do, and you're going to get the very best consulting out of them every day because they're very happy doing Saratoga consulting. It's what they want to do. So that you know, when you get a consultant that doesn't want to be doing a Saratoga, they want to be working on something else. It shows in their work, and that is not the case with our people. We hire our people that are committed to those technologies, and it's worked out very well for Tokara Solutions. Hold on one second, just got a little bit. There we go. Yeah, so to continue on with that, you'll never find a more committed group of consultants to Saratoga CRM and its customers than right here at Tokara Solutions. And hopefully it'll show in this webinar and working with Michael and John and our other consultants, hopefully you'll see that or experience that. Tokara is a stable company. And the reason I say that, I point that out, is even during COVID, we've done very well. We've been busy. We haven't let anybody go. In fact, we've only lost 3 people in the last 12 years, which says something about our company. And then at any time CDC Software or Avalon has let people go, we've been very quick to go right in and pick them up or you know, hire them. And there's a reason. You know, they're owned by a private equity firm. Professional services is a lower margin business. And in the case of Avalon, I can see why they got out of the consulting business. And it's mainly because yeah, I don't think there's enough profit in it for them. Brings the overall profit margin down for them. And that's something to consider, unfortunately. When a private equity firm is owning a software company, they absolutely look at those things. It's all about the numbers. It's all about the profitability. The good news is Avalon, the company that acquired them, it's a long-term play. So Avalon and ESW Capital has, in 30 years of business, they've never let any of their acquisitions go. So they're in it for the long haul, which is great. You know, they've kind of gotten out of the professional services business. For us, that's great. And we've added all those folks that they let go to our team so that we can continue servicing Saratoga customers. That's super important to us. We built our business around that. And you know, hopefully you'll remember us or remember this webinar after we're done. So back to Tokara again. We've been in business for I guess 12 years now. Very stable, no outside investment, owned by me, 100%. We don't have any debt, and we've done really well. I guess this year especially, even though, you know, with the COVID challenges. Let's see if I can get to the next one. Without question, we've got the best Saratoga consultants in the world. And Michael, in my mind, is really one of our very best all-around consultants. And we're glad that he's on and taking time out of his day to present to everybody. We're pretty excited about that. And I mentioned a little bit earlier how we'll always do what's right for our customers. And a lot of times that's telling the truth. In some cases, that's the hard truth about the product, the future of the product, the company that owns the product, those sorts of things, third-party products. I mean, we obviously have our opinions. We've been around for a long time. And we're going to share things honestly with our customers. And really what is in the best interest of the customer is knowing straight truth and not sugarcoating anything. And that's what Tokara is all about. Whether you're going to stick around on Saratoga long term or you're exploring other options, we'll always give you the truth and always share with you everything that we know. So we've been supporting Saratoga customers past 12 years, and really we're just getting started. We're more excited this year about supporting our Saratoga customers than we've ever been. Part of it is with some of the consultants that we added to our team there specialized in Saratoga, including Michael. But the other thing are the connectors. We've really focused on connectors, and we'll talk more about that. To really fill gaps of functionality or technology within the Saratoga application. So I think that might be something for those listening here might be interested in. So, all right. Quick snapshot of our team. We're up to 31 people at Tokara Solutions today. I share that just to show that we've got size, we've got scale. You'll see a number of folks on here you may recognize a number of the names on our team. The reality here is they're all ex CDC software, Appian, Avalon employees. Everyone here is. Everyone came from professional services at CDC software, or most recently Avalon. So they're all trained, they're all certified, they all work for the software vendor, and we've given them a safe landing place as things didn't work out for them with Avalon. So we're tickled. We couldn't be happier having this entire team. And it's like family, because a lot of these folks I worked with when I ran professional services, including John, who we go back about 20 years. So everybody on here, we've got a different story like that, where been working with them for 15, in some cases 20 plus years, which is, I know, showing my age, Sean. Yes, I know, but we're quite proud of that. And we're very loyal to these consultants, and they're loyal to Tokara Solutions, and it just works out really well. So our mission is really to help you reach your goals. We have over 100 years of combined CRM implementation experience. We've created a number of different service offerings for our customers, really across the board, all our products. So Saratoga, Pivotal, Onyx, and Salesforce, starting with CRM strategy and then evaluation and selection. We have a lot of customers that are looking at CRM strategy. Do they have the right strategy? What other things should they include as a part of their CRM strategy? These are things that we're very experienced in discussing and helping you navigate. Same with CRM evaluation and selection. We've had a number of successes with customers who explored other CRM solutions, and in some cases they stayed on Saratoga and or Pivotal, and other times they've left and they've gone to Salesforce, and we've migrated them over to Salesforce. So, every customer is different, and in some cases we recommend you should stay on Saratoga, but in other cases it makes sense for them to go to Salesforce. It depends on a number of different factors that we go through as a part of the engagement. So some things to keep about or to think about. We have the full project management lifecycle and all the types of resources we need to implement your solution. So for project management, discovery, planning, be project manager and business analysts. We get into custom integration, custom development. We've got a pretty deep bench of very skilled developers within Tokara Solutions. We do application management for a number of customers. That's where we take over the day-to-day administration of your Saratoga system. So if you just lost, say, your administrator, or somebody's gone on maternity leave, we've got different programs that can help you short-term or long-term in taking on day-to-day support of your system. So that may free up your resources to do other things within your organization. So we've got a number of customers and stories along those lines. AWS server migration, that is something that we're specialized in. We've been an AWS partner for about 9 years now. And we've got folks on our team that are certified, and we're very good at migrating you over into your virtual private network within AWS, so you no longer have physical servers on site. We do some things around data cleansing and preparation as you migrate, or maybe you want to clean up your existing database. You know, you've got a lot of duplicates and things like that. We've got tools and experience in doing that. Data and attachment migration, super important. What we specialize in getting every piece of data, any attachment that you've got buried in your Saratoga CRM system, and getting that out into whatever new CRM you're going to. That is something that we're very good at. Or if you want to take attachments that may be in your system out and put it in like a SharePoint or another file server, we can do that and then provide links from that location back into your CRM. So you're just one click away from getting access to it. We do that. And then of course the continuous improvement, center of excellence. I would say a majority of our clients, after we implement them, it's all about continuous improvement of their system. And you know, we find ourselves, you know, in some cases with our customers, we're doing things, small things, but continuous improvement things to their system on a monthly basis. So that gives you kind of the overview of the different things that we focus on, you know, as we support our Saratoga customers. I've been talking a little bit about the connectors throughout this presentation, and you'll see we've got a number of connectors we've built. I'll start with Salesforce. So we have built a connector between Saratoga CRM and Salesforce that allows for bidirectional integration. It's a snap-in, kind of a light integration that provides bidirectional integration of data between the two systems. So if say you're implementing Salesforce and you want a parallel process for maybe a month to try out the system and make sure everything's there and everything, you can snap in the Saratoga Salesforce connector. If you have, you know, a number of our customers, they'll run Saratoga, but they have pockets of Salesforce users within their organization because they're such a large company, somebody's gone off and done that. And your management wants really the ability to do reporting out of one system. And that's where the Saratoga Salesforce connector comes into play. We snap that into place. Now you've got the same data represented in both systems, whether it's Saratoga or Salesforce, and your management can now run reports in either or system. We've got a number of customers that use it for that reason. It can be used to migrate data from Saratoga over to Salesforce, or vice versa for that matter. Your Salesforce customer, you want to move to Saratoga, you can use it that way too. So that is ready for prime time. That product was finished recently, and we've been using it for a number of years with the pivotal to Salesforce connector. And we basically built it on the same exact framework, but for Saratoga. And it works quite well. We've done some other things too. Marketo is a marketing automation solution. We've got a connector built for that. Some of these others, we don't have the connector built for Saratoga yet, but we have the framework. It's built and running, and several customers are using it on the pivotal side, and we just need to find if there's interest of Saratoga customers that may want a Gmail connector, for instance. I mean, if you run Gmail for your email, we've built a connector between Gmail and Pivotal. It works well, and we can take that framework and reconfigure and make it work with Saratoga. The ClickView connector, I point that out that we actually sold that as IP to Aptian years ago, and some of you may remember when they were kind of really promoting ClickView. That was Tokara that built that. They bought the IP from us. They applied it across not only Pivotal and other solutions, but also their whole ERP line. And I point that out just because we built that, we sold it to them, we provide professional service around it. So if you have ClickView reports, reporting, things like that you need help with, we've got we've got some expertise. Prophecy is a master data management tool. And there's going to be a separate webinar on that coming up within the next 2 webinars. So I would stay tuned for that. There's going to be a lot more info on that as it relates to Saratoga customers. Sharp Spring, I just mentioned this. This is also a marketing automation tool. It's a lot like Marketo, but it costs about 1/3 of Marketo. It's actually what we use internally to send out our invites to everybody. We use our own technology, obviously, and we have customers that run this. Sharp Spring is full-blown marketing automation. Like I said, it costs 1/3 of Marketo, what Marketo costs, and works great. And that's it for the connectors. And so right now we have Salesforce done. If any of these others have interest to you, such as Gmail, or you're looking at Marketo or something like that, please let us know. We'd love to talk with you about that. We just need a couple of customers that show some interest in the Gmail, and we'll reconfigure and make that work. Same with Marketo. So let's see here. I got a couple more slides. There we go. Customers. So we've been in business for 12 years. I would say we're doing business with 98% of the Avalon customer base as it relates to Saratoga Pivotal customers. So we've got a mix of Pivotal and Saratoga customers on the slide that we've done business with. There's a whole lot more that we wouldn't be able to put on this slide, but there's some names here that some of you might be familiar with. Maybe you've met at other customer community events. Most of these customers have been around for a long, long time, and we've supported them for a number of years. And our partners include, obviously, Avalon. I say it says Pivotal CRM. That actually was supposed to just be Avalon, because we're partners with Avalon, and we're their CRM partner. We do Saratoga, we do Pivotal, we do Onyx. We're also partners with Microsoft, so Marketo, Sharp Spring, Prophecy, Amazon Web Services. These are our partners, is what we built our business around. We're always looking at other partnerships as well. If there's a third-party app out there a customer wants us to build integration to, we look at partnering with that if it makes sense and other customers have interest. So that's how we kind of determine who's our partners. But this is the core that we're really focused on today. Okay, very good. Well, at this point, I'm going to hand this off to John Hodgson and Michael Malik, and they will take over with the next slides. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it, everybody.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing here, Michael. I'm going to pass it over to you. Michael, can you share now?
You should see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Yep.
Okay,
sure
perfect. Perfect. So let's start here. And let's start with Saratoga CRM product specific themes. So we all know that all customers have their own highly customized Saratoga system. And I think that this flexibility is one of the big advantages of Saratoga. And in most cases, the main reason why companies selected this application. But from my experience, I think that you get the maximum out of Saratoga if you work closely together with product experts. And that's why we are here today, why we offer you our support with upgrades, with health checks. And I would like to remind you on some very helpful or useful product features and professional services add-ons. So let's start with Saratoga upgrades or updates. We have since March 2020 a new release for all the 3 available application types. So for the rich client, the thin client, and for the mobile client, it's a version 7.3. This version is a technical bug release. So we have lots of fixes, but no functional enhancements. And I would recommend, if none of these bugs influences your system, my recommendation is to stay with the version 7.2. So, but even if there is no functional enhancement, the platform is so rich in valuable functions, you only have to activate or to use. Only installing an upgrade of Saratoga usually has only technical advantages. For users, an upgrade is something where they get new functionality or changed user interface. So users expect changes in their CRM system, because CRM is a living system and has to be changed based on the requirements and maybe new workflows you have. And I have some examples today I will show you here during this meeting today. Yeah, health check. Health check is something that should be done frequently. One reason is that a lot of customers make their own changes. Also, other themes, for example, in new IT infrastructure, or over the time, much more data influence the CRM application. So at first, I guess all people think about performance, yeah, but it is from my perspective or our perspective much more than this. Performance is very important, but functionality must be in the focus as well. So checking how the whole system with all the bits and bytes and all the integration works together. We would like to check that with you. We're also checking schema and screens for optimizations, because you do your own changes, but here we have the experts doing every day just Saratoga work, and we can help. We can help here. And maybe you have requirements, new requirements. We should discuss how to implement it. But the main reason for all of what we are doing here is the user experience and the usability of the application. So user experience is more the emotional part. The first impression when they see the application, they love it or they hate it. Yeah, you know how that is. And a good usability is what you need to make sure they use the application frequently. So are your users complaining about bad usability? Maybe too many clicks or no good data overview? Are your users asking for functionality you think it is not possible with Saratoga? With our help, your users will have a very good user experience. Saratoga will have a very good usability, and your users get exactly what they need. So combined with the modernized design, and we talk about it in some minutes today, you maximize your Saratoga system for your users. And now let's start with a long list of product features and professional services add-ons. And yeah, I walk through this. I explain everything a little bit, not so detailed, but just to remind you that all of these functionalities are there. And maybe when I talk about, you remember some requirements from your users and think, oh my God, I did it so complicated, but here is a standard part of the Saratoga platform. So let's start with a mobile client. So mobile is something the whole IT market and lots of vendors are talking about. So all data must be available at any time in best case. And Saratoga offers a mobile HTML5 client. Yeah, it works on Android and iOS smartphones and tablets. And it is not only viewing data, yeah, it supports everything what you have developed with the tools you know. So with the schema wizard, the screen wizard, everything works on the mobile client, and the only thing you have to take care on, yeah, that it needs some additional screen design because of the screen size of the devices. One other functionality we have introduced, I think with 6.8, was the EMF Watch Record. And EMF stands for Event Management Framework. It's an Evelyn product, and all Saratoga customers are able to get a free of cost version of EMF from Evelyn to use the watch record feature. So you can get this software for free from Evelyn, and we can help you to install this application with that functionality in your environment. I have developed this feature a long time ago. So the EMF part is what I did a long time ago, and the R&D team added the necessary menu items to the application. The user defines in Saratoga which records, tables, fields he would like to watch, and receives an email with the changes that happens or other users has done. And you can see here on the screen an example how that email could look like. So with all the old values and new values and yeah, whatever you selected to watch. When you have this nice tool already there, you can use this for lots of things. So the EMF software is a very, very powerful tool to build any workflow or process or integrations with other systems. It can be administrative workflows to check something, to look into error logs, for example, Saratoga error logs, and to send out an email then if there is a warning or an error, or any business workflow you could imagine. It doesn't matter. And I have here one example I have implemented for a US customer. So their sales team had to write visit reports in CRM, and afterwards these reports must be sent in PDF format to the customer contacts. And what they did before EMF, they used multiple reports to merge the data into different templates depending on the different customer types. So saving each document manually in PDF format on a network drive, sending each PDF manually to the customer. I think you can imagine how much time it takes if there are dozens or more reports every day. And with EMF, the sales team writes the visit report, and everything else, including a document archive in SharePoint, will be done by EMF. That's a huge amount of time the users can use for more business, to do their real work instead of doing some administrative stuff. And also the automation prevents errors. So another example I have here from WEC, so from the company Peter Balcalzo, our speaker today works for. So there we have, for example, implemented a connection to a back office system where we get incidents and outages in XML format, and we import these records into Saratoga under the specific accounts. Very easy with EMF because EMF is able to read XML. Yeah, it was for me about an hour to implement that. Also, we have implemented call center campaigns to create new business created automatically every Monday morning. And other campaigns created manually by energy advisors based on Saratoga report results. And all tasks are appearing on dashboards at the call center agents or at specific users. And when a task is done, EMF does the necessary follow-up steps. So this process is fully automated and saves a lot of time. At some of these places, WEC exchange Excel sheets before we have implemented that. So coming now to the Word Excel generator. A very powerful professional services add-on, and I know that some of the attendees here today use it in their application. It creates really nice looking Word documents, PDFs, and Excel sheets. So yeah, you can't compare it with what the standard of Saratoga does. It's really nice looking and something you can give to your customers if you would like to. You can have embedded Excel graph in Word, pictures of products maybe. You can embed web pages. List grids have headings. Yeah, you can't imagine list grids really have headings. And you can filter your list grid outputs, something that is not necessary with a standard, and lots of other stuff. And the first version I have developed for a customer here in Germany in 2005. And yeah, I have enhanced that over the time again and again and again. And the last enhancement I think it was 2 years back, was one of the attendees here today. It was a very good performance optimization for this tool. And all the templates you have for this tool will be designed in Microsoft Word and Excel. So a minor item, but very helpful, I would say, the thin client navigation bar. So all of you who uses a thin client knows this navigation bar with the 4 buttons. Sometimes you have 5 buttons. There will be a 5th button for the watch record event menu. But maybe you don't know that you can enhance this navigation bar with additional buttons, and you can decide on your own what the name is and what you are launching when the user clicks on a button. It can be a web page, it can be a document, Saratoga reports, records, dashboards. So all of that is possible here. Next feature I would like to remind on, and maybe interesting for customers using Rich Client at the moment, because this is a feature we do not have in the Rich Client. It is a global search, the thin client global search. So you have one field here, one field to search through the whole data structure, and the administrator defines the reports this global search uses. So whatever you would like to search for, let's say you want to know what has been discussed about a specific product, or which customers do I have at a specific zip code, or whatever else, you type it in there. And the system uses all the different reports the administrator has predefined. And here, for example, we have a list where the criteria matched with companies, contacts, to-dos, and notes, and all of that in one view. So that is very, very helpful. So next, what we have here is a thin client interactor. This is a very helpful tool if you would like to open records or other objects in the thin client from external. So with just using a URL, you can open records in the thin client. You can start reports or dashboards by just clicking this URL. And the URL could be provided in an email, maybe from EMF, or it could be used in a different application. Yeah, if you want that from a different application, someone is able to look at records in Saratoga. Or maybe it makes sense on a screen field in Saratoga with a URL option to use this URL to launch a dashboard or whatever you want. So the org chart viewer is maybe something you don't remember or have forgotten that we have that. So the org chart viewer shows hierarchies. You can navigate through the hierarchy. It can be companies, contacts, products, regions. So whatever hierarchies you have in your applications, we can show it here. Or if the hierarchy does not yet exist, we maybe could implement a region hierarchy, yeah, to use the org chart viewer for easy navigation. Also, the colors are dynamic here. So for opportunity management, it could be very important to know if you maybe speak here with a foe, yeah, the red one here, or if you speak with a friend, yeah, if the contact is pro or con with us. And all of that is configurable, including the small bitmaps you can see on some of the objects here to know, for example, which role the contact has in the company at the account. And we have the notification server. So this is a tool 100% embedded in Saratoga. So based on rules you define on the table levels, we have here this notification button. And based on reports, Saratoga is able to send out emails to users or customer contacts if you would like to have that. So one good example I remember from a German customer, they have a lot of business critical workflows in CRM. They use the tasks and to-dos records to work on these workflows, but users are not always logged onto the CRM. And to notify them that there are existing critical tasks, the notification server checks every 15 minutes all tasks and sends an email to the users in case they have open due tasks. So could be very helpful. Maybe something to discuss the next weeks. So and then from this long list here, the last product feature, or in this case, it is a professional services add-on. I have developed this in 2015 for a Swedish customer. They didn't like how the report browse functionality in the thin client worked. It is very small and it is not that fast, and the customer needed some functionality to share reports easily with specific users or to group reports for user groups. So I developed a web page here, and all what you know from the standard is working, but now you have here, for example, entity reports the administrator can define. You have a share button where you select the users you would like to share one or multiple of these reports with. You can create the new reports here. And you have here the last open date, very useful for the administrator to know if there are reports nobody has used since a long time. And the count, how many times the report has been used, is available as well. Yeah, I know this was a long list of features in a very short time, but we are open for any questions today during this meeting, and also after the meeting, whenever you would like to discuss something you have seen today, we are here for you. Yeah, the next themes here are dashboards and screen redesign, and the nice feature I called quick notes. Dashboards is, I think, a direction where all CRM systems are moving to. Showing all relevant data in one view is what most users want and need. So when we look at our rich client, where we have this AIM, the Active Information Manager, we have one tab for each report, and the users had to click on the different tabs to see the information. So that is not so bad, but the user has to click multiple times to get an overview and can't see all the data in one view. When we look at the thin client, we have a dashboard, and in this dashboard, we can define multiple reports. It can be 4, as you can see it here, or maybe 8 or 10. It depends on what you need. And you can have multiple dashboards if needed. So usually we have a standard dashboard. So one of these frames here, where we show standard searches for all users. So searching for an account or searching for contacts, for products, for whatever you have in your system. And the second dashboard, we usually implement for the specific needs of the users. So different user groups, different departments have different dashboards for their daily work. Another nice feature we have here compared to the rich client is we have the search within result. So when you have here a result list like this, like a table, you can search inside this result list. Also, if necessary, if you need functionality we don't have in the standard, it is possible to use Google Charts here. And yeah, Google Charts provides a big library of different charts, and they are interactive. So when you move or click on the data, something can happen. And this something could be, for example, to open another chart to show more details for this data point, or to open a record in Saratoga, or to show a report or a dashboard. Yeah, whatever makes sense, we can put it behind all the data points in these Google charts. And I think you all agree that dashboards are saving a lot of time, and dashboards are very good for a high user satisfaction and for a very good user experience. So coming to the screen redesign or screen design, we think that a good screen design together with a dashboard is perfect for a great user experience. So when we look at, let's call it the traditional design, where we have the three different sections, yeah, the static area here that shows up always, doesn't matter, or independent from what you are doing here down below. We have the detail area and the list grid area. The advantage from my perspective was always that all the pages in the application have the same usage. But we have limitations with that. So with the space, for example, and how you get to the list grids here, and how you get to the detail tabs here. Yeah, so like this, it was a lot of times not really possible to implement what the user really expected. And one of the first implementations that has been done to make the pages more like web pages was the orientation that was yeah, you can define for your application, because web applications usually have a vertical design and you only scroll up and down and not left and right. So this feature has been implemented a long time ago, and you can decide whether detail tabs and or list grid tabs have horizontal or vertical orientation. And you can see it here in the screenshot here behind. We have the address and the billings and product counts we have here as detailed tabs in a vertical orientation. And here we have the address and then the billing and product in the vertical orientation. So on this screen, all these tabs you have here, one below the other, and you can move to the other by using the mouse wheel. Yeah, another very helpful newer implementation in Saratoga are the hover controls. And with the hover controls, we have the possibility to add reports directly on a screen. Yeah, in the previous version or in the older version, you had to click somewhere else in the navigation bar or in the button bar to open the report. And now you have here, and we have here one example, is this portfolio icon here. That is a hover report control. And when you hover with your mouse over that control, a box appears and you see the result of this report. And the nice thing is that this result can be filtered just for this account. Yeah, so you don't have to go and click a button to open a report and add the ID of an account or search for something with criteria. You simply hover over this icon here or over other icons, and you get your result here immediately. The next, what we have here is the list grids hover. And as you can see here, we have a lot of list grid hovers here. And you can see it saves a lot of space. Yeah, when you imagine how much space all the list grids needed in the old list grid area, it was a huge amount of space you needed. And here we have these hover controls. And when you hover over one of these, again, a box appears. And if you want, you can open the record with a double click, yeah, by clicking here on these lines. You know how that works. And the next hover control we have is a join hover. And we have an example here on the screenshot. So we linked the headquarter here. So Crony AG Division A is the headquarter of Crony A here. And let's say in the old world, we would have additional fields here to show information from the headquarter if we want to see it. Or you have to click on the link to open the other record. And here with the hover control, you hover over it and a small box appears and shows directly the data from the headquarter. So again, very useful and saving space on the screen. And additional to all of that, we are able since a longer time to put list grids everywhere on the screen. And with that amazing screen flexibility, we are able to build easily dashboard screens. Also, Google Charts are possible. And here is one customer example. And that's why I had to delete some data here. But as you can see, it's like a dashboard. Yeah, it's an account data view, and the users see immediately all the important information they want. They have Google Charts embedded here, and if they still want to look at the old list grid data, it is still here if the customer or you would like to have that. So I think the advantages for the users are clear here. And please keep in mind that this is possible not only for account, site, or company screens. It can be implemented on all screens. So here we have, for example, an employee record. Yeah, and here someone from the sales team can easily see how he did his job and which tasks are due. Or imagine you have a new region screen, yeah, where the entry point here is not an employee, it is global. So the global business. And then you have rolled up country data. And from there you click and drill into a country or into a state or into an office or into a sales employee's record. So there's a big opportunity to increase the usability of and functionality of your applications. Yeah, I would like to discuss these things with all of you. And then we have here the last, very small implementation, but sometimes minor solutions are saving a lot of time. And this is an example we have implemented at WEC, where Pete Bacalzo is working for. So during a project, a user asked whether it would be possible to create a note or send an email very quickly with less clicks. He saw that in his previous company in a different system, and he would like to have it because it needs less time instead of clicking the Notes tab to click the plus sign, filling out the detail page. And for this workflow optimization and the easy creation of notes and emails, we put directly in the middle of the account screen this little frame. And now the user is able to create a note very quickly. The note will be sent to the team via email if the user checks finally this checkbox, or the note will be saved as a note record below that account. And please imagine here that this is not only possible at the account level, it can be anywhere or everywhere in your application. For example, when users write visit reports, the sales people write the visit report text, and while they write, they create tasks, for example, to the billing team to send this account the invoice from the last month again, or to send the marketing team a task to send marketing material about a specific product. It's just a simple, small idea, but very helpful and very good for the usability and user experience. So now is time for Q&A.
Okay.
And I stop sharing and give it back to John.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Right now, I can see there's been a couple of questions that have come in. One was asking about the Salesforce connector. But if anybody does have any questions, by all means, you can use the Q&A or the chat feature and let us know, and then we can get those answers to you. So one of the questions that came in on the Salesforce connector was, is it customizable? In other words, is it hard-coded to certain tables, or can you configure it to be only table A in Saratoga goes to table B in Salesforce? And yes, it is 100% customizable. That's the whole point of it, is that you could basically pick and choose what you want to synchronize from A to B. And I'm going to show a quick little idea of that coming up. So any other questions right now that people would like us to go over? Okay, the next thing that we were going to be speaking to is a testimonial. Pete, are you there? I probably have to unmute you. Or Sean, if you're there, if you could allow Pete to speak.
Yes, 1 second.
You're the controller of the webinar.
Okay, I think he's okay now. Pete, are you there? Is Peter by chance dialed in by his cell phone?
I know he said he had to step away for a second, so he might be still not back.
Cell phone. He says cell phone now.
Oh,
Yeah, do I need, because I see there's 3 or 4 numbers there. Is any of those by chance his? Let's see. Yeah, he says back in, he says he's here. Yes, cell phone. Okay. Pete, which cell phone? Do you know his number? I'll enable
last
him.
2 digits of your cell phone, Pete.
Oh, okay, there it is. Okay, I got it. Pete, are you there?
Could still be on mute. Looks like he's on mute. There he is. Pete.
Hello.
Hey, Pete. We did it.
Technology.
Yeah. So I'd like to first off just thank you, Pete, for doing this. This is a from We Energies. Pete is somebody who we've been working with for a while now, and he's going to quickly talk about what we've been doing at Tokara for him for their Saratoga implementation. So over to you, Pete. And I'll control the slides for you. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for taking the time today. Boy, the technology is a reminder of how far we've come from the days when I first started working with Saratoga CRM some 22 years ago. The ability to work with people around the world, in a flash and just have an impromptu conference call just really speaks to the technology moving forward. So, my name is Pete Bacalzo, and I work for what is now WEC Energy Group. It's an energy utility company, and we've got there a picture of our world headquarters, or corporate headquarters, if you will. It's located in the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, about 90 miles north of Chicago, Illinois, for those who are familiar with the Midwest of the United States. Next slide, please. So we undertook, in becoming WEC Energy Group, I had been affiliated with Wisconsin Electric Power Company, which became We Energies, which was we'll just call it a large electric and gas utility in the state of Wisconsin. With the merger of the other utilities under WEC Energy Group, we recognized the need for a CRM solution. There had been partial integrations in Wisconsin and in Minnesota and in Michigan using the Onyx product for some years, but different levels of integration. And so we undertook a consolidation project. But we had been using Saratoga CRM at We Energies and its predecessor since 1990. The project was no small endeavor, but we intended to have one CRM. Saratoga CRM was selected as the CRM that we would keep, and we intended to take the Onyx system and merge it in with all of its data records. It was something like 15 years of customer data that had been accumulated. So it was no small task to merge these two systems together with basically data and a little bit of functionality from the Onyx system that had been customized. We saw that as best practice, brought that over to Saratoga. And we completed that on time. I believe it was close of business 2019, so just around the turn of last year. Next slide, please. So We Energies is a 30-year customer. I guess this year makes it 30 years that Wisconsin Electric Power Company had selected Saratoga CRM, and it's really a tribute to the value of the software that we have been able to continually modify our processes, or modify the system along with our processes. And as our data needs changed, as our client base grew, our customer base grew, the software just continues to prove its value. I want to say largely due to the flexibility of the application. As an administrator, I can make changes, same day, within an hour if they're small. And I've had no formal training ever in the 22 years that I've been the system administrator. I'll just kind of use the user guides and a little bit of help from our IT staff who actually did have some formal training. So yeah, with that long customer history, I think we were one of the first Saratoga CRM customers, and we still are, and very happy with the product. So the merger, again, drove a consolidation of our CRM system, Onyx with iAvenue. We had the project scheduled to complete in 2019. I think we roughly started it late in 2018. And we came in on time and on budget. And I want to give, kudos and thanks to Michael Malik for his efforts. A project of that size has a lot of moving parts, a lot of opportunities for failure or cutting scope. Oh boy, we can't, quite get this work done. But we were successful. I want to say, working with Michael, it was never a problem. I noticed in his background, when his screen was up, it looks like it's nighttime. I think he's about 7 hours ahead of where we are in Central Standard Time. So I think it's around, what is it there, Michael, 9 p.m. And it was never a problem during the project. If we had some urgent matter, we could reach out to Michael and get a phone call going midnight. I don't think it was terribly common, but just he'd been so accommodating and focused on success of the mission that I just, I'm very thankful to have had Michael on the project, and we got it done. There were a lot of other players on the team that contributed, but I think Michael helped kind of keep the big picture in mind and make sure, kind of like the orchestrator of the project, and making sure that the main goal and all of its moving parts were accomplished. So I can't say enough good about working with Michael. There's a lot of good ingredients of someone you want on your team if you have an initiative that you need to complete. So at this point, we have an ongoing effort to implement process adoption and system use at all of our WEC utilities. So now that we have, a standard CRM system that we can use, corporate wide, we still have yet to implement that and roll it out in real meaningful terms to our other sister utilities in Illinois and in Michigan and in Minnesota, and to a large extent our sister utility in northern Wisconsin. So when you undergo a merger of that size, there's a lot of other systems that are changing as well that we have to adapt to. So it's an ongoing effort. I think Michael has said to me in the past, and I like his phrase, let the CRM happen. We largely have had success using the Saratoga CRM product by listening to our internal clients and stakeholders, and as a new business need would pop up, or something would change, we would keep in mind what the needs of our clients are. And thankfully, the software is flexible enough that most of the time, either with addition of tables or screens or rules in the schema, and possibly with some SQL or custom programming, we could accommodate. So I think we've got a pretty good winning solution for supporting our customers using the Saratoga CRM product. I can't speak highly enough of it. It's just really been a key ingredient to our customer satisfaction for our business customer base. And we had engaged with Tokara, I want to say right around the time the COVID was happening. There were some changes going on at Avalon, I think, and Michael had indicated that he was going to be working with Tokara, and we really wanted to make sure that we kept in touch. I really do think he's one of the top-notch Saratoga CRM specialists in the world, as far as I know. That we really wanted to have him available and on retainer to be able to work on our ongoing system needs, should they arise. So we're very happy to be able to have that connection with Michael and be able to continue working with him. So I know that's very high level, and I think Michael had spoken a little bit to one of the features. A quick note was a suggestion one of our clients had during the project, or it was about, hey, I'm on the phone with one of my clients and they're asking about something, and rather than drill down into the CRM, find the specific account or customer record and then begin to enter the note. It was a way that you could just have the ability to add a quick note and send it out to the team, or save it as a note. So Michael, in true form, was able to build that in nearly no time at all, and I believe our clients are pretty happy with that. So I guess at this point, I'd like to open it up for questions. If anybody has any questions, I want to have a shout out to Larry Lapierre. It's been a while since we've been able to attend a conference together, and with COVID, who knows when we'll be able to meet in person again. But I like the idea that we can at least continue to do this kind of thing, even if it's virtually.
Yeah.
So.
And by the way, I have been seeing the questions going back and forth about knowing who's on this. This is John speaking. By all means, if anybody wants me just to share who was on this, let me know afterwards, and I'll send out those, an email to everybody thanking them for being on here, and you can see everybody else who agreed to let people know that they were on the call, and we'll share as much information as we can.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, I'll add that the next event or webinar that we do, we could also do it as just a conference call, screen share type thing instead of the webinar. The webinar automatically can't see who's attending, but if it's just a normal conference call, you can. The only caveat is if somebody forgets to put their mute on and there's a lot of noise, it impacts all of us. So something to think about. I'll just throw that out there. We could do that, but I like what John suggests. That's probably a better idea.
Sure. And I do have a hard stop at 12:30. There's an impromptu meeting that came up that I have to attend. But I wanted to give John and Tokara permission to share my work email address with any of the attendees if they think of something later to either ask or maybe something to share, something that they've learned. I think, I miss the old conference format where you were able to interact with others, and there's some nice features that some of the clients, maybe developed or customized or came up with an idea, and oftentimes we as fellow users were willing to share that. So I think there's good value in networking, as it were, and just, hey, what are some new things that you've got going on, with your installation, or are you having any performance issues with your system? you know, what platform are you on, et cetera, and that sort of thing. So, John, you feel free to share my work email with anybody on the that's on this call.
Certainly, will do. I appreciate that. Okay, so and we are getting a little bit tight on time, so I'm going to just jump into the next few things, but I'm going to go pretty quickly. So by all means, we can stay on later if you like, if you have questions. But there's a couple of things that I wanted to go through, and then I'm going to try and have a few minutes left for Q&A still at the end. So one of the things that we've talked about are these connectors, which basically is predefined code that we built out, and we have one already done for Saratoga to Salesforce, and then we're working with a LinkedIn partner to build one out for LinkedIn. So I just want to, again, I'm going to go quickly to talk about this stuff. So the idea of the Salesforce connector is you've got your Saratoga system sitting there, and you've also got a Salesforce system sitting there, and you want to keep the data flowing back and forth. The other key thing is you don't want to have to write a whole bunch of code and be doing C# and so forth. You want this to be configurable in Saratoga, and that's what we've done. So you can do this all directions. It can go, Saratoga can write to Salesforce, Salesforce can write to Saratoga, and they can go back and forth. The idea here is, you know, you're in Saratoga, you create a new company, it can be a contact, it can be a note, it can be whatever you like. It's going to use this connector. And then when you get over to Salesforce, beforehand it wasn't there, and then afterwards, basically the records are going to start to show up in Salesforce, be it the company, the contact, or the note. Again, this is just an example. You can set this up as you like. Same token, you can go the other direction in Salesforce. You can create a new contact, goes through the connector. Then after the synchronization, a nice little bouncy box thing, it'll appear over on the Saratoga side. You know, it can be new records, it can be updates to existing records, and so on and so forth. The key point of this is not hardcore programming. This is configuration. So there'll be forms that you'll have within Saratoga that you'll set up this, how you want to log it, what tables you're going to map. Obviously, you can do multiple tables. It's not just one table. And then within a table, you'll pick which fields you're going to map from within Saratoga to Salesforce and back and forth. We also found that when we were talking to customers, you have to be able to filter the records. You don't want to say map every record to, you know, over. You may want to say only do the active support tickets or only the active customers, and so on and so forth. There could be ways you want to filter that. We'll be talking about where the code is stored, the DLLs will be stored up in here as well. But this is all configurable. Okay, I know I'm going quickly here. The other thing that we're working on right now, we're putting together, is a LinkedIn connector. We have a partner that we're doing this with for LinkedIn. We find that a lot of people want to keep their data in sync with what people have put up on LinkedIn. The whole point is that's a lot of times where the best data quality is coming from, is people do update their statuses and information on there. So the idea of this is it's really doesn't have all three directions. It's LinkedIn writing into Salesforce. Again, the idea here is you create a new company, and then there's going to be a button on this form somewhere that's going to say, pull my data down from LinkedIn. It would pop up a little screen. It would say, okay, here's all the LinkedIn things that kind of match this company name. You would select the one that you want to do, and it would pull in as much information as it can down for that company record into Saratoga. The other area where it's really going to be useful is on the contact side. So again, I create a new company. You could then go and pull in all the information just like we showed over there with the same kind of a screen. Here's all the people. The contact would have to be linked to a company. That's what LinkedIn will allow the modules to come in and do. But basically, you can then get all that information loaded. But the other thing too that I think is going to be a big value is you can refresh it. So there'd be like a refresh from LinkedIn button on here where you could go out there and you could say, okay, has it changed? Have they changed their email, their phone number, whatever? But I think the most important one is, are they no longer listed with that company? And then you may want to find that out, and maybe you mark them as inactive inside of here against the company that you know them And as I said, it's going to update your email address and phone and so forth. Okay, so any questions out there on those? I know I went pretty quickly, and we are getting tight for time. Any questions on any of that? I'm looking at the Q&A in the chat. I don't see any right now. Oh, I do see some in chat. Okay. Okay, so right now, I think it was just a couple comments about sharing the info. So another thing that Sean mentioned at the beginning, and again, I'm going to go try and pretty quickly about this, is remote application management. Right now, we are finding that a lot of IT departments are getting stretched, and then the gap of what they're used to providing and what they now need to provide is growing and growing and growing over time. As we get more things on the web or on the cloud, I mean, and there's more functionality and more applications and so on and so forth. So we have basically the IT teams being required to provide all sorts of services right now. And most importantly, in this specific case, they're having to reach across to Avalon to do all the support tickets and product enhancements and so forth. What we are proposing that we can do at Tokara is we can be in between those two. So you can be working with us and then we'll work with Avalon. What we find is that 95% of the time you ask us a question that you would have had to ask Avalon, we don't need to ask Avalon. Basically, we know the answer already and we can just immediately reply to you. We'll be a lot faster and a lot better at answering those questions than probably what you're getting in support right now. So this is meant to help you do all sorts of things. It's when your staff is going on vacation or maternity leave, as Sean mentioned. It can get best practices. It can help you if you try to ramp up your team and that didn't work out. So there's various things that a RAM program can do. I'm not going to go through all of this right now because of time constraints. The idea of this is that you would purchase a preset number of hours per month. It's on a 1-year commitment, and you are allowed, if you don't use all those hours within a month, you can put 25% of those hours forward to the next month. So we are trying to be flexible in all of this, and basically really reduce the burden of maintaining your Saratoga system so your IT teams can focus on the more current products and so forth that are coming out there. So I know I went really, really quickly over all of that. So I would like to be able to open up some time at the end of this for Q&A, and we are at our time, but we can stick around as much as possible. So we talked about upgrades and health checks within Saratoga. There's a lot of stuff that Michael showed there for how you can really, really take what your system looks like now and make it look amazingly, modern and so forth in the revamp of the screens. Thank you, Pete, for talking to us about what WC has done with their Saratoga system and with Tokara. I briefly talked about those two connectors, Salesforce and LinkedIn. We are also building connectors to things like master data management, marketing automation. If those are things that are interest to you, also Gmail, as Sean mentioned. If those are things that are of interest to your companies, let us know, because we have lots of skill sets in building out those types of connectors. And as I just went through quickly, the remote application management. So going to open this up to everybody. If there's more things that people would like to ask, by all means, chat them in or put them on the Q&A. I can see both. We can all see both of those windows right now. And hopefully this was beneficial to you. So I'll throw it back out there if there's any questions or comments or feedback. Okay, right now I saw that I think there's been a couple that have been answered. You were asking, Michael, yeah, you answered Jennifer's question, okay, regarding the thin client or rich client for your slides. They said it was both, okay.
The screen redesign and the quick notes, it's possible for both clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other, if there's no other questions, then I'd like to thank everyone for their time. So by all means, feel free to reach out to me, if you would like any further information and so forth. I will send around an email, as I mentioned, for people that are comfortable with, letting other people know that they're a Saratoga customer and they want to be able to know who each other is. So I'll share that information if you agree. And as Sean said, we can also just do a sort of roundtable kind of situation where we just get customers online and you want to talk to each other. We can also facilitate that for you, which would be more of just a general open session. Okay, Larry just asked me, have we heard anything about the Affinity engine and the cloud from Avalon? That is what other people also might have been referred to as CX. Infinity Engine is the tool to get to their CX application. Sean, do you want to take a shot at that, or do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, I don't have an update for you there. I know it's not ready for prime time. I know it's not ready yet. I mean, we're the only Saratoga partner out there. We haven't seen it yet. I've seen slides, so that's what we've seen. I think it may be a ways away from being ready for prime time. So as soon as we see something that's real, obviously we're going to test it pretty hard, make sure it's worthy, and then we'll let you know. But we're absolutely going to share with you the truth on that. So we've worked with a lot of CRM solutions. We've worked with a lot of connectors and add-ons. We build our own. We have high expectations kind of with our own connectors. In Avalon's case, I expect that connector to be as high quality as our connector. So that's a good standard. And so we will definitely get back to you as soon as we know more. That's about all I can say at this point, John.
Okay. Okay, Larry just responded with thank you. Okay.
Bet.
Just watching as the questions come in. Yeah, and yeah, Larry, if you want to talk about that, we can certainly have a conversation with you as to how we imagine CX / the Infinity engine working in your situation. Okay, then I think we probably have answered all the questions. Everyone on this call has my contact information, Michael's contact information, Sean's contact information. By all means, reach out to us. We're here for you. We want to make sure that just as this session's name was all about, that you maximize what you get out of your Saratoga CRM implementation. That's the whole key of why you implement these products, is to try and make sure they provide as much value within your companies as at all possible. And there's always a lot more that you can do for them. And that's what Tokara is here for. We're here to be your partner, your CRM partner, to make sure that you are getting the best that you can from what you've done.